So I recently started back up my body recomposition plan, and I wanted to share with you exactly how I'm going to be training in the gym. And back here behind me, I laid out every single workout that I'm going to be doing, probably for around the next 4 to 6 weeks. So we can actually see here the exercises I'm doing, the sets, reps, etc. And I will explain so that it makes sense and so that you can just get a little bit of insight in terms of what a training plan may look like. Now, this is by no means like a one-size-fits-all approach or like the perfect plan. This is just something that I'm personally starting with, so just please keep that in mind that this is going to look different for everybody. This is just my personal training plan. If you are looking for your own personalized plan, I do offer that within my one-on-one coaching services, so definitely check that out. But let's dive right into how I structured my training plan for body recomposition. For lower body days, I have 2, and then I have 2 upper bodies here, and then I also have a arm and a glute day just to add in some extra areas that may not have been touched up upon here as well in terms of being isolated. So that's why I have arms, and then glutes was kind of just like a additional thing that I added because that is actually my primary focus for a muscle group that I really want to build. So that's why I threw glutes in there. And then I do have some rest days. So I'm gonna have 2 rest days here. That's really important. I'll talk about that more at the end. But yeah, this is based on a 5-day split. This is gonna be 4 days in the gym, 1 day at home where I could easily just do a quick dumbbell / banded workout. This is what's personally realistic for me and what I can stick to as of right now with my goals. So let's dive into the first workout here. So lower body 1. First up, we have hip thrust. So I'm doing 4 sets of, this is the rep scheme that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the first set, 12 reps, then 8 reps, 6 reps, and 4 reps. So what's happening here, the reason why the reps are getting lower is because I'm trying to go heavier each set. So the first set's kind of like a little bit of a warm up for me, 12 reps. You know, it's not going to really be like too heavy. And then we start adding weight to the bar. So we get to 8 reps, 6 reps, 4 reps. And for that last set, for the 4 reps, that's going to be pretty challenging for me. I want to be like really challenged to get to that 4th rep. You're going to see a pattern here for these other workouts as well. I do something very similar to this pretty much for every workout. We're doing hip thrusts first because it's going to require the most effort on my end, and also that's something I want to focus on the most because by the time I get to the end of my workout, I'm just not going to have as much energy as I am here. So I want to make sure I'm prioritizing the most important exercise first, the compound lift, right? So that's why the hip thrust is up there. And then next up we have squats. I'm doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Then we have a Bulgarian split squat, which is 3 sets of 10 per leg. You always want to do the weaker side first. So for me, I'm pretty sure that's my left side that I'm weaker at. And if you don't know what side is weaker, just do like your first set and then you should pretty much know what side is weaker after that. If you always do your stronger side first, you may not be able to match the reps on the other side, which is really important because we don't want any muscle imbalances. Next up, we have back extensions for 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. We are going to be doing this movement in a way where we're going to be targeting more glutes, so my back is going to be rounded. Then lastly, we have hip abductions, and I'm doing a drop set here. So I'm doing the first set, 10, then 15, then 20 reps. So what this means is, it's actually a triple drop set, sorry. What this means is I am doing a pretty heavy weight for 10 reps, like a moderately heavy weight, I should say, for 10 reps. And then I'm dropping the weight without taking a break in between. And then I'm immediately doing 15 reps. And then after that, I'm dropping the weight again and then going right into 20 reps. The weight that you drop, it really is just going to depend on you personally, like what you're able to do. You want to make sure you drop it enough so that you can actually get to this 15 and 20 reps, but at the same time you don't want it to be too light. This actually happened to me the other day when I tested this out. I just actually did this workout yesterday and I think I lowered it too much by that third set, the weight because I was literally able to do 30 reps. And that's not what I want. I want to be like absolutely done by that 20th rep. In my situation, definitely need to make the weight a little heavier next time I do that workout. But yeah, that's pretty much how I would do lower body one. Something else I wanted to add here too was you always want to make sure you're warming up before each workout. I always do like some dynamic exercises before starting my routine. And if you have time, it would be good to foam roll after your workouts as well, or stretch, just to help with any like potential muscle soreness and make sure that you are recovering properly. Let's just say I did this on a Monday, right? My Tuesday is going to be here. We're going to start with chin-ups. So we're going to be doing 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. This is going to be assisted for me because I can't really do 8 to 12 reps unassisted. So I want to make sure I'm getting the proper volume there. And then we have our barbell bench press here. So this is the exact same thing pretty much as the hip thrust. 4 sets of 12, 10, 8, and 4 reps. I did add a little bit of a range here for that last set, 4 to 6 reps. Lat pull downs, we're doing 3 sets of 6 to 10 reps. Seated row, we're doing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Then we have the incline dumbbell curl. Oh my God, this exercise is so hard. I just did this. I haven't done this in a really long time. I just did this the other day and I was like laughing because I could not finish it. This is not like your average dumbbell curl, like when you're standing or even when you are sitting down, just in like a regular stance. When you add that incline to the bench and you are like pushed back a little bit, it is so much harder. So yeah, that's what we're doing there. And then lastly, we're doing face pulls, 3 sets of 15. I love to finish off with these 2 target rear delts. As you can see, just from the first 2 workouts already, I like to personally have a mix of everything. I know some people do like splits where they do like back and buys, or some people do like full body days too. I just personally found that this is what I enjoy the most. And when it comes to training, you want to do something that you enjoy, right? I know I am not always going to enjoy doing a squat, but overall, you should enjoy your routine, right? Because this is a 5-day thing. So if I physically hate every single workout, it's going to be really hard for me to stay consistent with that, right? So that's why, do the split that you personally enjoy. I think they're all great. This is just what I personally find works best for me and my mental sanity. So at this point, I would take a rest day after I do lower body, then upper body on Tuesday. I would probably take off maybe like on Wednesday, and then I would go back into lower body 2 because I need at least 2 days of rest before going back into these muscle groups that I trained previously. Recovery is really, really important. You don't want to schedule a lower body 1 and then a lower body 2 back to back. Because you're just not going to recover and you're not going to build muscle that way. However, if you were doing a full body split, it would be a little different because you wouldn't have like all of these light exercises jabbed in together. So it would be like less recovery in terms of like your glutes, quads, etc. But just because we are doing a lot of leg exercises here, we really can't do the next workout the next day. We need some recovery time here. So I find that 2 days between that is great. Moving on to lower body 2, we have our compound movement first, sumo deadlifts, because that is the hardest thing in the list here for me to do. So we have 4 sets of 12, 10, 8, and then 4 to 6. So again, very similar to the hip thrusts and the bench press. And then we have pause hip thrusts, which in this movement, we are going to be just pausing at the top for about like 3 seconds. And we're going to do that for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Next up, we have a goblet squat for 8 to 12 reps. Cable kickbacks, 3 sets of 10 per leg. Again, making sure to do the weaker leg first. And then lastly, we're going to finish off with floor abductions for 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps. I'm doing pretty similar exercises in terms of the muscle groups. We want to make sure we're keeping everything balanced. So I'm hitting quads, glutes, hamstrings here, and the same thing for our lower body 2 day. It's just a little different in terms of how it's structured. So here, is a barbell squat, and then for our lower body 2, it's not a barbell squat again, but it's a goblet squat, so it's still the same type of movement, it's just a little different. For upper body 2, we are starting off with the military press. So we're doing 4 sets of 12, 10, 8, and then 4 to 6. Bent over rows, 3 sets of 8 to 10. Straight arm dumbbell pull downs, 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Dumbbell lateral raise for shoulders, that's going to be 3 sets of 10 to 12. And then assisted dips for 3 sets of 10 to 15. So for both of my upper body days, you may be thinking like, where's the arm work here? Well, I don't have any real like isolated movements besides the incline dumbbell curl. And that is because you are technically working your arms when you are doing these other exercises. Like when you do a chin up, you are really working your biceps, right? And I did save this extra day to add in some more like isolated work for my arms for that specific reason. But just so you know, just because it's not an isolated movement doesn't mean we're not actually targeting that muscle group here. The same thing goes with your ab muscles. You are working your abs through a lot of these movements here when you have to keep your core tight, etc. Moving into our arms and glute day, I might actually add in an ab exercise or two at the end here if I feel like it, but as of right now, I don't have it anywhere else here just because I do hit abs when I do especially like compound movements and stuff like that. And also just a side note too, if you want to visibly see your abs, that has to do more so with having a lower body fat percentage. We all have abs, and when we lose body fat, our abs become more visible. It's kind of like that with our whole body. When you have a lower body fat, you're gonna see your muscles pop more. So for me personally, when I used to compete, I literally saw every single muscle popping. Like when I did a back flex, you literally like saw everything. It was nuts. And it's not because I have more muscle there, it's because I am at a lower body fat percentage so that you're able to actually see everything. So if you are in a muscle building phase, you might be able to still see, of course, a lot of your muscle, right? Like in your arms and your legs, but there's a good chance that you won't see as much, nearly as much ab definition as you would, you know, if you were 10 to 15% body fat, right? So that's a quick side note on that. Back to the glute and arm day. Here we have hammer curls. We're starting with 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Then we move into incline tricep kickbacks, which will be 3 sets of 10 to 12 as well. And then we're shifting to the glutes. So we're doing a single leg hip thrust. As you can see, I have a hip thrust variation in all 3 workouts because it is a great exercise for your glutes. So here we're doing a single leg hip thrust, which is going to be 3 sets of 12 per leg. Again, doing the weaker leg first. Then we are doing a concentration bicep curl, 3 sets of 10 reps per arm. Then we're jumping back to glutes, lateral banded walk. That's going to be with a resistance band for 3 sets of 10 per leg. And then lastly, I'm doing a cable rope tricep push down. And this one we're actually going to failure on both sets. So I have AMRAP here. That means as many reps as possible for 2 sets. So what this means is I'm literally going to be doing as many reps as I possibly can for 2 sets. So this is gonna depend on the weight for me in terms of how many I can actually get. I don't want it to be too heavy. I don't want it to be too light either. I'm probably gonna have it somewhere in the middle, and I'm strictly like really gonna push myself to go to failure here. So that's what we're doing for the arm and glute day, and that actually concludes my 5 workouts. Some notes I wanted to discuss that are important are rest days. I think I actually covered that in the beginning of the video. But you just want to make sure that you are recovering properly. I know if you are new to the gym, you want to go like every single day, especially if you start seeing some results. It gets really addictive and you're like, oh my God, like I just want to be in the gym all the time. But that's not good for your muscle recovery, and it's also going to take a toll on the mental side of things too, because you're going to get burnt out. As fun as it may seem in the moment to be going every day or to be doing legs every single day, right? It's not the smartest thing to do. You have to make sure you are prioritizing rest days, at least 1 day off, at least. And then rest periods. So when I do something like a hip thrust, right? My goal when I do that exercise is to progressively lift more weight for each set, right? So if I took a really short rest period, like if I only did like 15 to 20 seconds, if I take a really short rest period, I'm just not going to be able, most likely, to do my maximum here for the 4 reps. So that's why I want to make sure I am taking enough time. I would say anywhere between like 3 to 4 minutes. If it's a squat, sometimes I take 5 just because it is like so mentally taxing for me to do a barbell squat if I'm getting into these low rep ranges here. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking a longer rest period if it means that you're going to be doing some pretty good weight here. I wouldn't do that for something like a back extension or like hip abductions, right? Because those are going to be like lighter weight. And also, this is a compound movement, so your body can handle the extra weight that you're going to be doing here. So that's why, you just want to make sure you're taking enough rest time so that you can really push yourself and go to your max potential when it's structured out for you to do so. And then in terms of the weight, so this is a really, really common question that I get asked a lot in terms of like how to know like what weight to do. You want to do a weight that's challenging, but that actually enables you to do this for the appropriate reps and also in proper form. So for an example here, if I was doing squats for 8 to 10 reps and I was banging out 8 to 12 pretty easy, I'm probably not challenging myself. If I could have done a lot more reps here, like if I could have probably got up to like 15 with the weight, I'm probably not challenging myself anymore, and that's when you know, okay, I can increase the weight here. You know the weight is in the right place when this is really challenging for a given weight. Like if you got to 8 reps and you're like, oh man, like I don't even know if I can get to that extra 2, right, to hit the 10 reps, that's at a good weight for you then. And then for the weeks following, you could try to get to the 10 reps at that same weight. But that's pretty much how I would gauge it and how I would start. You have to just try it. You have to just do trial and error. You have to experiment. That's how you're gonna know what you're actually capable of and what weight to do. A perfect example of this is I mentioned before that I did an incline dumbbell curl, and I think I had like 12.5s in my hand, because that's normally, I guess, what I would do like for a regular dumbbell curl, and I was wrong because this was really, really hard for me. So next time I do this, I might honestly even have like 5s or 7.5s in my hand, just because this was such a hard exercise for me to do, and I want to make sure I can get to that 10. So there is a range here. When you see 10 to 15, it means, you want to at least get to 10, but if you go up to 15, or if you could do more than 15, okay, it's time to increase the weight, But if you can get up to 10, let's say you do 10 reps for 10 pounds, and that feels like hard, like that's hard for you, you could stay there, and then next week, you could try getting to the next rep, which is 11 reps, and then 12 reps, and then 13, 14, 15 reps, and then after you hit that, then you can increase the weight. That's how you can know. That's a pretty good example of that, at least. And that example actually explained my next point here, which was progressive overload, and that's when you do more over time, right? This is how we're really going to build that muscle. That example I just gave you of starting with a weight that is hard, pretty hard for you for up to 10 reps, and then each week trying to get that extra rep because you have a good range here, that would be improving in the gym, right? You would be working towards getting better and better each week. Another example is if you were able to go up in weight. So let's just say, you easily did a weight. Let's say you did 10 pounds and you easily got to 15, and you're like, all right, next week I'm gonna do 17.5s. And you're still able to do maybe like 12 to 13 reps there, and then you're able to go up in weight the next week. So that's another way to progressively overload. So that is my training plan, guys. I hope this was really helpful for you, for anyone that is trying to recomp themselves, or if you just kind of want to follow along my journey and see how I am killing myself in the gym. But yeah, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.